Imagine your body as a finely tuned orchestra, each organ playing a note in harmony. As we cross the threshold of 65, the rhythm shifts, the tempo slows, and suddenly the measures that once seemed simple weight, energy, mobility become intricate puzzles demanding deeper understanding. For decades, we've been told that a single number on a scale defines our health, that there is a perfect weight to aspire to, and that any deviation is a sign of failure or weakness. But as we step past the age of 65, these rigid ideas begin to lose their meaning, and the scale itself becomes a blunt instrument, unable to capture the subtle symphony of changes occurring within our bodies. The human body is not a static machine. It is a living ecosystem that evolves with every passing year. Bones gradually become more porous, muscles lose mass and strength, and fat shifts from subcutaneous layers into deeper regions around organs. What this means is that the old benchmarks, the charts that defined healthy weight for younger adults, are no longer accurate indicators of well-being. A number that once symbolized fitness may now represent fragility or imbalance, while a weight considered over may actually support strength, energy, and independence. In essence, the obsession with a universal ideal overlooks the uniqueness of each body and the remarkable adaptability that occurs as we age. Instead of pursuing a number, we must begin to view weight as a reflection of the body's functional capacity. It is a measure of how well we move, how resilient our muscles and bones remain, and how efficiently our organs carry out the processes that sustain life. Two individuals may weigh the same, yet one may move with fluidity, recover quickly from minor illnesses, and experience vibrant energy, while the other struggles with stiffness, fatigue, and vulnerability to falls. This demonstrates that weight alone cannot capture the intricate balance between strength, endurance, and internal health. Furthermore, society often equates thinness with health, ignoring the fact that an overly aggressive focus on weight reduction can strip away muscle, compromise immunity, and destabilize metabolism. These consequences are particularly pronounced after 65, when the body's reserves are naturally lower and the margin for error narrows. The pursuit of an arbitrary number can transform health from a source of vitality into a source of stress and anxiety, and stress itself triggers hormonal changes that further complicate weight management, creating a cycle that undermines the very well-being it claims to protect. At the same time, science encourages a shift in perspective, inviting us to consider weight not as a static target but as a dynamic indicator of overall function and quality of life. Body composition, balance, strength, and energy are far more meaningful than any single figure. Observing how the body responds to daily activity, nutrition, and rest provides insight into its needs, revealing patterns that a scale cannot. Aging, then, is not a process of inevitable decline, but a recalibration, and weight is one of the many measures that can reflect that recalibration when understood in context. In this sense, seniors who let go of the myth of perfect weight begin to listen to their bodies with curiosity rather than judgment, allowing them to make choices that enhance longevity, preserve independence, and cultivate a deeper appreciation for the complexity of human physiology. It is a subtle but profound shift from chasing numbers to understanding the body's evolving story, from external validation to internal awareness, from fear of weight to respect for the intricate intelligence that sustains life. As we consider what it means to maintain a healthy weight after 65, it becomes clear that the number on the scale is only part of the story, and often a misleading part. What truly matters is the composition of the body: how much is muscle, how much is fat, how much water is circulating within our tissues, and how these elements interact to support movement, balance, and vitality. Muscle is more than a tool for lifting or walking. It is a reservoir of strength and resilience, essential for metabolism, immune function, and the body's ability to respond to stress or injury. Fat, too, is not merely an excess to be shed. It serves protective and regulatory roles, cushioning organs, storing energy, and participating in hormone production. Even water, often overlooked, is central to every cellular process, from nutrient transport to temperature regulation. When these components are in balance, the body can adapt to the challenges of aging with agility and endurance. But when muscle diminishes and fat infiltrates vital organs, the consequences ripple through the body, increasing the risk of falls, metabolic disorders, and cardiovascular stress, regardless of the number reflected on a scale. The patterns of body composition shift as we age, making this consideration particularly crucial for seniors. Sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass, begins subtly, often unnoticed, until strength and mobility are compromised. At the same time, fat tends to redistribute, accumulating in visceral regions around the organs, which may not significantly affect overall weight, but carries implications for heart health, insulin sensitivity, and inflammation. Ignoring these changes in favor of chasing a low number on the scale can lead to the erosion of muscle, leaving the body weaker and more vulnerable, while still appearing to meet conventional ideals of healthy weight. Science teaches us that a slightly higher weight with preserved muscle and balanced fat is far more protective than a lower weight achieved through excessive restriction or unsustainable diets. Functional capacity, energy levels, and metabolic efficiency hinge on the proportion of lean tissue rather than the absolute weight recorded in kilograms. Nourishing the body in this context requires a delicate awareness of how diet, exercise, and lifestyle interact with aging physiology. Protein intake, resistance training, and adequate hydration are essential tools for maintaining muscle mass and metabolic health, while balanced nutrition helps regulate fat stores without triggering unnecessary loss of strength. Observing changes in body composition through practical measures such as strength, endurance, and the ability to perform daily activities provides a more meaningful gauge than stepping on a scale. Even subtle improvements in muscle tone or energy levels can signify profound health benefits that are invisible in mere numbers. This perspective shifts the focus from weight as a judgment to weight as an observation, a reflection of the body's internal harmony. Understanding weight in terms of composition invites a deeper curiosity about how our bodies function and adapt. It transforms health from an external measure into an intimate awareness of the body's processes, revealing how lifestyle choices, movement patterns, and nourishment interact to sustain life. In this way, seniors can approach their weight not as a target to be conquered, but as a dynamic element of overall well-being, cultivating strength, resilience, and vitality in ways that a scale alone could never capture. The conversation moves from fear of gaining or losing pounds to curiosity about how the body thrives, embracing the wisdom of biology and the complexity of human physiology, while fostering respect for the ongoing evolution of our own bodies. As we enter the years beyond 65, the rhythms of the body begin to shift in ways that are both subtle and profound. Metabolism, the engine that converts food into energy, gradually slows, influenced by changes in muscle mass, hormone levels, and cellular efficiency. Hormones, the chemical messengers that orchestrate countless processes in the body, no longer maintain the same balance they once did. Insulin sensitivity diminishes, making blood sugar regulation more challenging, while shifts in thyroid, growth, and sex hormones influence energy, mood, and the way fat and muscle are distributed. Appetite signals can become less precise, sometimes blunted, sometimes exaggerated, leading to patterns of eating that do not align with actual physiological need. These changes are not a matter of weakness or failure. They are natural adaptations, responses to decades of cellular wear and the recalibration of internal systems. Yet, if these shifts are ignored and seniors attempt to follow the same weight guidelines and dietary strategies that applied in younger adulthood, the results are often counterproductive, creating cycles of fatigue, frustration, and even muscle loss. Understanding these changes requires a shift in perspective from numbers on a scale to the nuanced biology of aging. Muscle is harder to maintain because protein synthesis slows and activity levels often decrease, meaning that even small reductions in movement can contribute to significant functional decline. Fat tends to accumulate in areas around vital organs, contributing to inflammation and metabolic stress, even when overall body weight does not increase dramatically. Bone density may decline, increasing vulnerability to fractures, while the heart and vascular system adapt to years of stress, changing the way circulation responds to exercise and daily activity. Each of these shifts interacts, creating a complex web of factors that influence what constitutes a healthy weight for an individual. The old idea that a single number or a standardized body mass index can capture health is insufficient. Biology is far too intricate, an aging process far too dynamic. Yet within this complexity lies opportunity. Recognizing these changes allows seniors to approach weight management and health with curiosity and strategy rather than fear or conformity. Rather than attempting to force the body to fit an outdated ideal, attention can be directed toward maintaining muscle through resistance training and functional movement, supporting metabolism with adequate protein and nutrient-dense foods, and monitoring energy, strength, and recovery as indicators of true vitality. Small adjustments, slightly higher protein intake, gentle strength exercises, mindful hydration can have outsized effects because they work with, rather than against, the natural rhythms of aging physiology. The goal shifts from hitting a precise number to fostering resilience, preserving independence, and supporting the body's ongoing adaptation. This approach also encourages a compassionate awareness of the body's signals. Hunger, fatigue, energy fluctuations, and the ease or difficulty of daily movements are all data points informing choices that align with current needs rather than past expectations. Science reminds us that these changes are universal, yet individual experience varies, emphasizing personalization over prescription. The slowdown in metabolism, the hormonal shifts, and the altered appetite regulation are not limitations. They are invitations to understand the body more deeply, to measure health and function, adaptability, and well-being rather than kilograms alone, and to cultivate habits that honor the intelligence of the aging body while supporting its continued vitality. When we think about healthy weight after 65, it becomes clear that numbers on a scale tell only a fraction of the story. True health reveals itself in function, the body's ability to move, to respond, and to engage with life. Healthy weight is inseparable from how well we can perform the everyday tasks that allow independence and freedom. Climbing stairs, carrying groceries, bending to tie a shoe, standing up from a chair without strain, these are the measures that matter more than any chart or guideline. Functionality becomes the living evidence of health because it reflects the strength of muscles, the flexibility of joints, the integrity of bones, and the efficiency of the cardiovascular system. Seniors who maintain this functional capacity can experience vitality, confidence, and resilience, even if their weight is above what society deems ideal. Science reinforces this perspective. Studies consistently show that after 65, the risk of falls, fractures, and chronic illness is more closely tied to muscle mass, balance, and mobility than to overall weight. Two individuals at the same weight can have dramatically different health profiles depending on how much lean tissue they carry, how strong their bones are, and how effectively their heart and lungs supply oxygen to tissues. Functionality becomes the lens through which weight gains meaning. It shifts the conversation from what the scale reads to what the body can achieve. Observing energy levels, endurance during physical activity, and recovery after exertion provides insight into the quality of weight rather than the quantity. Strength, flexibility, and balance are as vital as numbers, serving as a practical and scientific measure of well-being. Beyond the physiological perspective, function also carries a philosophical dimension. The ability to engage with the world, to maintain independence, to move without pain or fear, is intimately tied to dignity and quality of life. Healthy weight supports these capacities, not by conforming to arbitrary numbers, but by sustaining the structures that allow the body to function optimally. Weight, in this sense, is a servant of purpose rather than a goal in itself. When the focus shifts to function, choices about diet, exercise, and lifestyle naturally align with enhancing strength, stamina, and balance. Resistance exercises, balance training, and activities that promote coordination are not just physical practices. They are investments in the capacity to live fully and independently. At the same time, the mind-body connection underscores the importance of functionality. Confidence in movement reduces fear, encourages activity, and helps maintain social engagement, which in turn supports mental health and resilience. Functional capacity becomes a feedback loop where strength, balance, and mobility reinforce each other, creating a body that is not just a collection of tissues, but a coordinated, responsive, and adaptive system. Healthy weight, therefore, is inseparable from this harmony. It is not a number imposed from the outside, but an emergent property of a body that moves well, adapts to challenges, and maintains vitality through careful attention to function, nutrition, and activity patterns. Through this lens, seniors begin to see weight not as a static target, but as a dynamic measure of how the body performs in real life, allowing them to make choices grounded in curiosity, science, and compassion rather than fear or societal pressure. Functional health becomes the compass by which weight is understood and guided, transforming the pursuit of wellness into a journey of observing, supporting, and honoring the body's remarkable capabilities. One of the most overlooked risks for seniors pursuing conventional weight loss is the silent erosion of muscle. Muscle is not just a matter of appearance or physical strength. It is central to nearly every aspect of health, from mobility to metabolism, from immune function to balance, and even to the regulation of hormones and blood sugar. After 65, the body naturally loses muscle mass in a process called sarcopenia. And if this loss is accelerated through indiscriminate dieting, excessive caloric restriction, or overemphasis on scale-based weight targets, the consequences can be profound. The danger is not always visible in pounds lost. A senior may appear lighter, even slimmer, yet the reduction in muscle compromises the body's foundation, leaving bones, joints, and internal systems more vulnerable. Without sufficient muscle, movements that once felt effortless become challenging, energy wanes, and recovery from illness or injury slows. In this sense, focusing solely on reducing weight without considering muscle preservation can transform what is meant to be health-promoting into something that undermines the very resilience we aim to protect. Science makes clear that maintaining muscle is a cornerstone of longevity and vitality. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns energy even at rest, supports the regulation of glucose, and helps maintain a stable body composition. When muscle declines, metabolism slows, fat stores may increase, and the risk of insulin resistance or cardiovascular strain rises, even if total weight seems stable. Beyond metabolism, muscle is the body's shock absorber, protecting joints, reducing the risk of falls, and allowing the fine control needed for balance and coordination. Loss of muscle mass can subtly undermine independence long before any dramatic health event occurs. It is a slow erosion that can be missed if the focus is on the number on a scale rather than the quality of the tissues that compose the body. Preventing unnecessary muscle loss requires an intentional approach. Resistance training, even with light weights or bodyweight exercises, signals the body to retain and rebuild muscle. Adequate protein intake, spaced throughout the day, provides the building blocks for repair and growth, while a combination of balance and mobility exercises enhances the functional benefit of muscle. Nutrition, movement, and rest work in concert to support not just weight, but the quality and distribution of body tissue. Seniors who embrace this approach often find that they may weigh slightly more than recommended by conventional charts, yet they experience higher energy, better mobility, and greater resilience, an outcome that a scale alone cannot capture. Muscle preservation also aligns with the philosophy of compassionate self-care. By focusing on what the body can do rather than how it looks, seniors cultivate awareness and respect for their evolving physiology. Strength becomes both a physical reality and a form of agency, reinforcing confidence and independence. In this sense, the pursuit of a healthy weight transforms into a pursuit of functional integrity, metabolic resilience, and vitality. Losing weight at the expense of muscle is not a triumph but a compromise, whereas supporting and building muscle ensures that the weight carried serves the body rather than undermines it, and allows seniors to navigate life with stability, energy, and a sense of empowerment that transcends any number on a scale. As the body ages, one of the most subtle yet impactful changes is the gradual rise of inflammation, often referred to by scientists as inflammaging. Unlike the acute inflammation that signals injury or infection and resolves naturally, this low-grade, chronic inflammation quietly affects nearly every system in the body. Fat tissue, particularly around the organs, produces chemical signals that can trigger inflammatory processes, while cells that have accumulated stress over decades release compounds that further perpetuate it. This internal environment changes the way weight, metabolism, and energy interact. Two individuals with similar weights may experience drastically different health outcomes because the quality of their internal physiology, influenced by inflammation, is distinct. Chronic inflammation can make the body more resistant to insulin, slow recovery, increase fatigue, and even contribute to joint pain or cardiovascular strain, all of which directly affect how seniors feel and move through daily life. Weight is no longer a simple measure of health. It becomes entwined with internal biology that cannot be read from a scale alone. Science points to lifestyle and nutrition as the most effective ways to manage these subtle yet pervasive changes. Diets rich in anti-inflammatory foods, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats help regulate the chemical environment within the body. Conversely, excess processed foods, added sugars, and unhealthy fats can accelerate inflammatory processes, creating a feedback loop that challenges metabolism and mobility. Exercise, particularly activities that combine strength, endurance, and flexibility, has a profound impact not only on body composition but on the immune system itself, helping to reduce inflammatory markers and improve cellular function. Even sleep, stress management, and social engagement have been shown to modulate inflammation, highlighting how deeply interconnected lifestyle factors are with the maintenance of a healthy body at this age. In practical terms, this means that healthy weight for seniors is not simply about achieving a number that looks ideal on a chart, but about creating internal conditions that allow energy, strength, and resilience to flourish. Fat stored around vital organs or excessive weight gain from inflammation-related water retention may mislead the scale, masking underlying health risks or making the body more susceptible to metabolic stress. Observing how one feels after meals, how energy fluctuates throughout the day, and how recovery from activity progresses provides insight far richer than any number can convey. Seniors who cultivate this awareness begin to recognize the signals of their bodies and make adjustments that honor both science and lived experience, choosing foods, exercises, and routines that support cellular health and functional capacity. Approaching weight through the lens of inflammation invites a more nuanced, compassionate understanding of the body. It emphasizes internal quality over external appearance and encourages curiosity about how the body responds to what we eat, how we move, and how we rest. It refrains health from chasing arbitrary numbers to nurturing the body's resilience, energy, and adaptability. Aligning weight management with the preservation of vitality and independence. In this light, the body is seen as a dynamic system, responding to choices and environment, and weight becomes a reflection of internal harmony rather than a target to be feared or corrected without context. As we consider healthy weight after 65, it becomes increasingly clear that measurement should be an act of curiosity rather than judgment. Observing one's body is not about scoring success or failure, but about understanding the complex signals it provides. Weight is one indicator among many, but the way we move, the strength we retain, the quality of our sleep, the energy we feel, and even our digestion patterns offer far richer insight into health than any number alone. Seniors who cultivate mindful, compassionate self-monitoring learn to see their bodies as dynamic systems that communicate through subtle cues rather than as static machines that must conform to societal standards. Each sensation, each fluctuation, is a piece of data guiding decisions about activity, nutrition, and rest in a way that is personalized and deeply attuned to individual physiology. This perspective transforms weight management from a source of anxiety into a tool for insight, allowing choices to emerge from understanding rather than fear or external pressure. Mindful observation also creates an opportunity to notice trends rather than obsess over isolated readings. A small increase on the scale may coincide with stronger muscles, more energy, or improved balance, and in such cases it is not a setback but a reflection of positive internal adaptation. Conversely, a decrease in weight paired with fatigue, weakness, or reduced mobility signals that intervention may be necessary. This approach encourages seniors to interpret numbers contextually, integrating them with functional outcomes and internal sensations. Science increasingly supports this holistic view, showing that seniors who focus on function, energy, and overall well-being often achieve better long-term health outcomes than those who fixate solely on weight reduction or BMI targets. By attending to trends and patterns, the body becomes a collaborator in understanding health rather than an adversary to be controlled. The act of compassionate self-monitoring is also deeply psychological. Aging brings awareness of the body's changing capabilities, and weight can become a source of stress, shame, or frustration. Approaching self-observation with curiosity rather than judgment alleviates this burden, fostering a sense of agency and partnership with one's own biology. Instead of punishing or restricting the body to fit arbitrary ideals, seniors learn to listen to its needs, respond to its signals, and adapt routines in ways that promote strength, balance, and resilience. Meals, movement, and rest are no longer obligations dictated by external standards, but intentional choices guided by observation, awareness, and care. This perspective ultimately changes the relationship with the body and with weight itself. Numbers become information, not verdicts, and the focus shifts to internal harmony rather than external appearance. Energy, functional capacity, and overall vitality take precedence over scale readings. Aligning with both scientific evidence and lived experience, the body becomes a partner, providing feedback that informs sustainable lifestyle adjustments, encourages thoughtful reflection, and promotes a sense of empowerment. Through attentive, compassionate self-monitoring, seniors cultivate a deeper understanding of their unique physiology, allowing weight to serve as a reflection of ongoing adaptation and health, rather than a source of anxiety or pressure, and creating a path toward maintaining strength, resilience, and quality of life as they navigate the natural changes of aging. Healthy weight after 65 is not a universal number imposed by charts or guidelines. It is a deeply personal measure that emerges from understanding the body's unique needs and responding to its signals with curiosity and care. Aging is not a uniform process, and no two individuals experience the same changes in metabolism, muscle, bone density, or hormonal balance. Some may retain strength and mobility well into their 70s, while others face subtle declines that affect balance or endurance. Recognizing this variability is essential because it reframes weight from a fixed target into a dynamic reflection of internal health, functional capacity, and lifestyle adaptation. Seniors who embrace this approach shift the conversation from comparison and fear to observation and partnership, allowing the body to guide choices in ways that are both practical and scientifically informed. Personalization is at the heart of this process. While general principles of nutrition, exercise, and rest remain valuable, the specific needs of each individual vary according to genetics, medical history, activity levels, and even psychological factors. Some may require higher protein intake to maintain muscle mass, while others may need more attention to cardiovascular endurance or balance training. Lifestyle factors, stress levels, and sleep patterns all influence metabolism and weight, meaning that a single approach cannot fit all. Science supports this perspective, showing that personalized interventions are more effective for maintaining muscle, managing fat distribution, supporting bone density, and reducing inflammation than blanket recommendations. By tuning into the body's responses, whether it is noticing energy fluctuations, recovery after exertion, or changes in strength, seniors can adjust their habits in ways that foster resilience and long-term vitality. This individualized approach also emphasizes a reflective and compassionate mindset. Aging can be accompanied by frustration or anxiety over changes in appearance or physical ability, but focusing on personal cues rather than external benchmarks transforms weight into a source of insight rather than judgment. Each fluctuation or trend becomes information, guiding decisions about movement, nutrition, and lifestyle that honor the body's intelligence. It encourages seniors to experiment with small adjustments, observe outcomes, and refine routines based on what genuinely supports energy, strength, and independence. In this way, healthy weight is not dictated from the outside but cultivated from within, informed by careful attention to the body's signals and respect for its adaptive capabilities. Ultimately, a personalized, curious approach to weight allows seniors to reclaim agency over their health. It positions them as active participants rather than passive recipients of generalized advice, enabling choices that align with individual biology and lived experience. Weight is no longer a number to fear or an ideal to chase, but a reflection of the body's ongoing adaptation and resilience. Seniors who listen attentively to their bodies, interpret trends thoughtfully, and adjust routines accordingly find that they can maintain vitality, functional capacity, and energy levels even in the face of natural aging processes. This perspective honors the complexity of human physiology, the uniqueness of each individual's journey, and the profound intelligence of the body as it continues to evolve, reminding us that health after 65 is not uniform but deeply personal, and that the pursuit of a healthy weight is ultimately a pursuit of harmony, function, and curiosity about the remarkable systems that sustain life.